Welcome to this Swift tutorial, and in this video I'm going to show you how to download an image from the internet. So how your app can take an image, any image from the internet, and download it so you can use it in your app. I'm going to show you how to do exactly that in this video. So if that is something you want to know how to do, just keep watching. Okay, so first of all, we need to create the new Xcode project, and I'm going to call this image download. Make sure that the language is set to Swift, and then just click next. I'm going to save it on my desktop, make everything full screen so that it's nice, and then I'm going to head over to my storyboard and I'm going to drag in an image view. So what our application is going to do is that when the application launches, it's going to take the URL, take the picture from that URL, and then display it in our image view. We could also launch this task when our user clicks on a certain button, but right now we're just going to present the image when the user launches the application. So here we have our image view, and now I'm just going to connect that to our view controller. So let's drag it in. I'm going to call it image view. Connected, and then the first thing or everything that we are going to do is going to happen inside the Viewdidload method, because we want to do this the second that the application launches. So I'm just going to get me some more space here, make it all full screen, and then I'm going to start by defining our URL of our image. So this requires that we of course have the URL to our image, and that's what we are going to get now. So you just decide what you want to display in your image view. I want to display, let's see, what do you want to display? I'm just going to search for an animal. Let's see what we got here. If we have something that fits our image view proportion would be great, but if not, I'm just going to go for this cute little, no, let's see, I'm going to go for this one. This is a funny picture. Probably taken on a GoPro, maybe. I'm going to at least, no, wait, and then make sure that you copy the image address. So you want this one, the URL to your image, so if you were to launch it, you would get this. And if that's the case, you've got the right URL, you can just close Safari or whatever you use and then paste it in here. So here we have saved, or we have defined the URL that leads to our image. Now what we want to do is we want to launch a session. Let's see, just make sure that we put some of these around our string. And then we are going to create a session that opens this URL. So we do that by saying task is equal to URL session dot shared data task with URL, and we want our completion handler, which is this one. And our URL is going to be our URL. As you see, we could just paste it right in here, but I think it looks cleaner this way. And then we are going to get these three variables are going to get returned. So we are going to call the first one data, the second one response, and this data is the variable that's going to contain our image, and error if we get some kind of an error. And that's the first thing that we do. We are going to check if we have had an error. I'm just going to get me some more space. If error is not equal to 0, which means there has been an error, then we are going to print that to the log, so error, just so we get a message. Else everything went smoothly, our operation started, and we're going to continue with our code. Now what's the problem? Okay, fair enough. And that just means that we're sure that this can be converted to an URL. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a variable that's going to contain our documents directory. And this is going to be the path to our directory where we are going to save our image. And then we're also going to say var and create one that's called paths, ns search path for directory in domains, and we're going to say document directory, and then here we're going to say user domain mask, and we're going to set this to true, and then we are going to see if we have got a path return. So this one is searching for the path to the directory, and if it got something, we are going to first see if it got something. So paths.count, so this is an array, and if it has got some place where we can store our image, then we are going to set that path equal to documents directory, the variable that we declared above. Going to set that to paths, and we're going to take the first one. So here is our directory path where we're going to store the image, and now we're going to have the exact path. We're going to create the exact path. Save path, I'm going to call that, is equal to document directory. I'm sure that there's something because we're checked right here, and then plus, and then the identifier of the image. Just make sure that you have a slash, and then call the image whatever you want to. I'm just going to take this number right here. It's not the most beautiful ending, but it will do the job. And here also save path. This is the path that you can use in order to refer back to your image or get your image back. Even after your user has closed the application, you will still have your image saved at the save path. Then we are going to save the image. So we have now the path to where we are going to save the image, and now we are going to save the image. And we're going to create a file, and this one is the one that we are going to use. And the path is going to be the path that we defined, save path. The contents is going to be the one here, data. And the attributes, we're not going to have something special there, so we're just going to write nil. So now we have really downloaded the image, and we have saved it on the save path right here by running this command, and now we're just going to display the image in our image view. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we do this on the main queue, else we can get some error problems. I'm not going to go into that, but I'm just saying that we should try to run this on the main queue. So we do that by saying dispatch queue. You can search more on Google on that if you want to, but I'm just going to write it in for now. Our dispatch async, and then we are going to display our image. So we're going to say self dot image view dot image is equal to an UI image saved named, and then we're just going to give it the path to where we save the image. So here is our final code. I'm going to run it on an iPhone SE, and one thing I'm going to do before I launch the application is I am going to put some constraints so that it stretches out to all the sides, and I'm also going to make sure that it displays the image with an aspect fit so that it doesn't distort the image in funny ways. So let's try to launch the application and just make sure that everything is running as it should and doing the job that it should. Okay, so we got an error, and I think I know the problem. We have to run the task. Now, that's not something you want to forget. So here, task.resume, which is just going to run the task itself. And there's one more thing that I forgot to add, and that is because we're using HTTP instead of HTTPS. If you used an address that started with this, everything would be fine, but we start with HTTP, which means that we have to give the app allowance to open this, because Normally, you can't open URLs that start with HTTP, only URLs that starts with HTTPS, so we have to say that it's okay. And we do that by adding something in our info.plist, and I hope that I remember what it's called. I think it's allow arbitrary transport security settings. It's probably this one. And then I'm going to say, let's see, it's going to be under this one, and it's going to be, let's just click on plus, and then let's see, click on plus, allow arbitrary loads. I think it's that one. So let's try to launch the app once again, and now hopefully everything should be fine. Wait, let's make this yes. Let's see, come on, yes. Launch it again. So here we are, here we have our image. Finally, we had some minor issues, but now everything went smoothly. Here we have our image, and it is saved on the path that we defined. So just to go through everything that we did, first of all, if you're going to use an HTTP, make sure that you allow arbitrary loads. Then what we did here in the main code is that we first of all imported our image view, then we defined the URL that leads us to our image on the web, and then we created a session that opens a browser in the background, you could say it like that, and then it gets three things. It gets the data from the site, the response, and if there has been an error message, an error message. And we check if the error was nil, and if it was nil, then we're running this. Here we're just creating a variable, then we are finding the path to the domain or the directories where we can save our file, and if it found a place where we can save our file, we set the documents directory to be equal to that place. Then we created a save path, which was the directory plus our ending, so the file name, and then we actually went ahead and saved the file before we launched it by referring back to this path. So if you want to, access the image at a later time, you can just refer back to this path right here, and you will be able to recall your image. So that's all there's to it. Make sure that you click the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video or this video helped you out in some way. Also make sure that that was really all I had to say. Just click the subscribe button, and I will see you back in the next video. Thank you for watching.